Hi there, and welcome back. And for this session, we're going to be looking at quality of experience. And that's a quite interesting topic in wireless because it essentially is differentiated from quality of service, and it's much more about the perceptions of the user or the application. And to speak about this, we've got Sakid Ahmed, who's the GM of the EPMP and CM Vision businesses at Cambium, to talk through what we can expect in terms of quality experience. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. This is Sakid Ahmed from Cambium Networks. A big pleasure here to have everyone join us. You have been hearing a lot of exciting things about 5G, millimeter wave, and the technology that is in the very near future that's going to open up boundless opportunities. My session today, we're going to dig a little deeper to something close to my heart and something we're monitoring in the industry and looking to participate in. And it has to do with the concept of QoE, quality of experience. To cover a little bit about what is QoE, and then talk a little bit about what we can do to ensure quality of experience in the applications that you're providing through the broadband connection. Needless to say, this applies to everybody, whether you're MSP or a wireless service provider or a wireline service provider. A QoE is what matters to your customers. So this is why I wanted to talk about QoE today. Before we move any further, I did want to talk a little bit about something close to my heart and an interesting experience. And this will feel like we're deviating quite a bit from the topic, but there is a rhinoceros conservation project in South Africa that I had the luxury and the fortune to visit. And in that preservation, what you see in the bottom left-hand picture are EPMP radios backhauling thermal cameras. Quite fascinating because the whole idea behind this is to handle and catch poaching in action and react to that, and with the whole goal of preserving the rhino population at this location. As I went through this later on, somebody shared a video with me about an encounter that I thought was a cool video to watch. And I was getting excited to watch this video, and just like everyone else, right at the exciting moment, my video started buffering. As you can clearly see, my presentation about the rhino had really nothing to do with the actual rhino preservation, but more about showing you what quality of experience really means. The buffering of this video at a critical juncture is what we don't want our customers to face in their homes. And this sort of summarizes, in a nutshell, what quality of experience is all about. And with that, I'll go and talk a little bit more. It is about buffering during video streaming. It's about slow, hiccupy browsing experience, lost or choppy video or audio during a phone call, or something that is really disturbing is high latency during online gaming, which ends up resulting in somebody not being able to join a cloud game service, or for that matter, having poor performance during an online game. So these are the things that encompass the concept of the quality of experience. And it is very important in our industry. And we spend a lot of time talking about QoS. We spend a lot of time talking about throughput and bandwidth and selling packages. But what really matters is customer satisfaction. And customer satisfaction comes via the positive experience that they have in their homes. Speaking of QoS versus quality of experience, I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about this. So really, QoE focuses on user experience. Achieving QoE is about making sure that application-sensitive parameters are optimized. I'll delve a little bit into this a little later, but really it's about, are there things that a particular application cares about that you should focus on tuning, tweaking, and optimizing? with the end result being customer satisfaction, which translates to better business, customer loyalty, retention, all the factors that make your business successful, because customer is king in this case. QoS, on the flip side, is really about the granular level of packet prioritization, packet optimization, right? You're classifying, and yes, to some extent, you're prioritizing the packets. Some would argue that bandwidth control via maximum information rate, committed information rate, those are also things that contribute towards a QoS experience. But QoS today doesn't really go down to the layer 7 type deep packet inspection and really integrate into what I would consider the edge network. And edge in this case for me is the wireless access point. Given that we are talking primarily about the wireless experience, QoE becomes even more important. And I'll talk a little bit about this down the road, but retransmissions, interference, and how those things impact applications really trigger that negative QoE experience. And QoS gets to a certain point, but it doesn't necessarily give you the granularity, the insight, and the tips and tools to tweak the application experience. This image where you see the water faucet with the different applications is really a attempt on my side to convey to you that at the end of the day, increasing, decreasing bandwidth is just one element of providing QoE. If somebody says, I've got X number of Netflix video streams in my house happening in parallel, of course, you want to give them the better package, 100 megabit plan, so they can run their 4K TVs in parallel. But a lot of times that is not enough, because that experience could easily be impacted with a PS4 gaming upload in the background. So while the faucet and controlling the pipe is one aspect of this, really the insight that each application gives you and parameters that can help you with video conferencing, YouTube, those are what makes the QoE experience significantly better. So I hope that kind of comes across, and while the difference may seem subtle between QoS and QoE, I still want to highlight QoE is relatively subjective, but it is an important parameter, and it really does boil down to application-specific optimization. If you look a little bit at where we are in terms of the world around us, I mean, we are inundated by applications, right? Whether it's Google Home or Alexa devices used to control the light switch and whatnot, or massive game updates that your family members, your kids might be doing, or joining these multitude of online gaming services. The advent of higher resolution TVs, with a lot of activities happening on the CRM and the cloud, your iCloud backup, all of these are examples. In some cases, a file upload backup could withstand packet loss, not a big issue. But on the flip side, that packet loss could really cause issues in throughput degrading significantly on a critical download that you're waiting for. Latency impact. We talked about gaming, but for that matter, smart home devices inside your house with Wi-Fi, that latency can impact the time it takes for you to say, Alexa, turn off the light switch versus when the light switch is actually turned off. So this is why our thinking has to evolve more towards application performance, tweaking that, and focusing on the end user experience, and less about the packages and the throughput numbers that we sell. So if you look at where I want to talk about a little bit in the next slide is an example of selling internet packages today. You can go and sell the 50 megabit package, 100 megabit package, etc. But there is an opportunity to change the conversation a little bit. Instead of selling that 50, 100 megabit packages, in this case, you see that There's additional information about how it's ideal for streaming TV entertainment, ideal for working from home, and how that translates. So when a user comes to you and says, well, such and such provider is giving me a 100 megabit plan, the argument or the marketing you can do is, well, my plan will cater to three simultaneous Netflix users while somebody's gaming and somebody's working from home. So there's an opportunity here, which some of you are already well ahead, I'm sure. But the purpose for me to bring this up is that the speeds and feed or the competition on throughput packages is just one way to win the business of the customer. But the other way is to talk to them about their actual needs. And if you ensure that those needs are met, then you may not be competing just pure on throughput, but rather on services. And that will retain that customer and bring customer loyalty. With that, what can we do today? Um, some insight that I wanted to share, and this gets a little bit more on the technical side, and I'm sure there are other examples. But first and foremost, you as an operator, independent of what you do, whether you're offering managed services or wireless internet or cabled internet, your goal is to know the customer issue before that customer makes that phone call. That is a invaluable tool to be preemptive about what you have to do. It reduces your customer calls and you're able to tackle situations better before issues are escalated. Monitoring your network is the absolute first step towards this. I know many people do so. They're using SNMP, CN Maestro, and other tools, but we provide a pretty comprehensive and powerful tool in CN Maestro. So first and foremost, regularly monitoring network becomes a key foundation to developing this experience. Look at things in wireless around, and I speak specifically to fixed wireless broadband, the outdoor stuff. Obviously, in Wi-Fi, once you go inside the house, things change dramatically. But retransmissions, when there's interference, packets are lost. What is the ratio of packets being retransmitted? It's a very, very key parameter because retransmission usually translates to higher latency, as well as signal levels. Are RSSI signal levels and consistent over time? Are there degradations happening because of a misalignment and things like that? So keeping an eye on some of these things. Along with retransmissions, you want to look at packet loss on the link. Packet loss is a bad thing. We try to address that with retransmissions, but if you have high packet loss, we all know TCP doesn't like high packet loss, and you're going to have a dramatic impact to your throughput. You want to keep an eye on these parameters because if you are able to proactively address these, you're already on your way to building a reliable network, which ultimately results in better experience for the end user. Having said that, this is today. Our desire at Cambium Networks is to give you the tools and insights in the near future that will help you achieve even better quality of experience for your customers. So as we look to the future, you're going to see things like DPI abilities in products that will give you insight into how much Netflix is really Netflix is consuming on your link. Is it 10 meg, 20 meg, 30 meg? How much is YouTube doing that? So this insight is the first step towards seeing, okay, what is happening with the application scenario? Because once you see Netflix happening and suddenly you see a massive spike in the game update for PS4 or the GeForce or Amazon Luna gaming service, you kind of start to say, well, my Netflix users are probably going to complain because there's a sudden uptick on the background download activity. So that's going to be a step one. Then step two becomes what we want to offer eventually is a prioritization. How do we control the access point, the scheduler, and things like that in relation to the application level? So now you're able to prioritize things like Netflix and deprioritize background file uploads to iCloud or your family picture sync up. And needless to say, you're able to do a little bit of this in your home router. There's a lot of opportunities there, but that's not what an average user does at their home. So you as an operator have that opportunity to tweak that, to implement those things and extend that quality of experience. As we move forward, you'll see more opportunities to impact things in terms of TCP behavior, latency, and a lot of this all comes together once again to achieve that important aspect of quality of experience. So that is the message I wanted to send. I hope everybody finds it useful. If you haven't thought about quality of experience, my goal is you should start thinking about it. If you haven't started monitoring your network, my goal is to tell you, please start doing so. And last but not least, keep an eye out for what we have to share in the future about this topic and the tools and we will offer as a vendor to help you achieve the quality of experience.
Well, hopefully you found that a really interesting overview of quality of experience in wireless. Unfortunately, Sakid couldn't join us for this particular Q&A session. So instead, I've got standing in for him, I've got Fedor Trutsko, who's going to be fielding some of the questions. There's a question Q&A window box underneath the video on the website. And before we go straight into questions with Fedor, there should also be a poll coming up on your screen asking whether a wireless network provider with unlicensed can genuinely measure and control customer experience. That's just a binary yes, no. So hopefully we'll get the results from that fairly quickly. But okay, so Fedor, thanks for standing in for Q&A on this. And there's a few questions that we've got coming in from the audience. I suppose, sort of technically speaking, is this about oversubscription? You know, at the core of this.
Hello, Dean. Hello, everyone. So, oversubscription. Oversubscription means that your access point, your single access point, or maybe your network segment has too many subscribers, and their demand is bigger than what you can provide. It's a very important. It is very important for quality of experience, because in case customers' demand is bigger than what you can provide, most likely they will be not satisfied, and most likely after some period of time they will leave you and switch to different operator. So in general, oversubscription has very negative impact to quality of experience, and it can lead to lower speed that what is defined in packages, and to performance degradation of the provided services. And it's extremely important to detect that an access point or maybe a network segment is oversubscribed at the very early stage, when internet service provider has time to change, while oversubscription didn't become the critical issue for end users. I apologize, I will be mostly speaking in context of ePMP, but it applies to other Cambium product lines as well in general. So technically, ePMP access point allows to connect more than, not more, but up to 120 subscriber modules. But for 2021, it can be too much, since in 2021, people are looking for high-speed packages and the demand is growing. Previously, people were looking for download mostly, but today this is changing, and the uplink becomes important too. For example, for such services like video streaming or video calls. For ePMP networks, the key parameter that can point you to the fact that the access point is oversubscribed is frame utilization. It demonstrates how much airtime is occupied by data transferring. So in case you see that frame utilization is growing rapidly in your network, then it should become a trigger for you. Frame utilization can be easily monitored from CN Maestro system. It's available for every access point, and when you see it is reaching 80–90% in peak hours, it should become the trigger for you to start planning switching to wider channels or deploying new extra access points, or maybe switching your equipment to the latest generation, which can provide you higher throughput, and as a result, the higher quality of expectations, not expectation, but experience, right?
Experience. I mean, going beyond the sort of the technical aspects such as the frame structure, are there other things you can do around quality of experience? Things like, particularly when you're dealing with cloud applications or internet applications, which relate more to the topology of the network. So I don't know, maybe a local breakout to a better peering point or an edge compute node. We heard earlier on discussions about latency, and some of it's going to be over the air, and some of it's going to be in the IP part of the network. Is that something that you have visibility on as well?
Of course, you're right. Every network segment has its influence on quality of experience. For example, when we are doing quality of services on a wireless side, we can take some tags from IP Ethernet packets, which has been assigned to the packets in a previous wired part of the network. So in that way, we can offload wireless part of the network to be focused to provide the lowest latency and the higher throughput. But the biggest part of quality of service is done in wired network, and the wireless network just use it for its work. Yeah.
I think we've got the poll results now, so I'm just going to have a quick look at those. Well, this should please you. Can high quality of experience be achieved using unlicensed? And certainly the audience seems to be pretty positive, and 40% plus saying that that's true. I guess you must be fairly happy with that. Fedor, you're on mute, I think.
Yeah, so that's a great result, and I believe that demonstrates that people trust in wireless, and they still see the potential that it can be growing and can provide even better performance and better quality of experience for users than what it's doing today. So from our experience with ePMP, we can see great results even today, but of course we do have plans how we can help our users in the future. So we are looking in a new DPI for ePMP product, and I hope it will help our customers, and of course it will bring the topic of quality of experience on the table for other operators who are not doing this today. So we are very optimistic, and we can see that ePMP has roadmap and has significant plans what we will be able to provide our customers in context of quality of experience.
Right, thank you. Okay, we're running a little bit short on time now, so there's a couple of product and technical questions that have come in, which Cambium representatives can deal with separately offline, or perhaps they might be able to cover in the panel session. For now, Fedor, thank you very much for that. The next session will start at the top of the hour and is the executive panel for Q&A, and the link will be in the box below the video screen. Thank you very much for that.
Wildfires in Oregon stranded an entire community. Cell towers and fiber were destroyed. There were no phones, no internet. Restoration would take months. Volunteers from Oregon Internet Response created a solution for their own community. High school students helped install solar-powered fixed wireless connectivity. Forest Rangers and Fire Command were reconnected. Power company communications were reconnected and electricity was restored. A resort and military depot were transformed into schools with Wi-Fi. In days, the community was reconnected with faster speeds than before. People started rebuilding their lives.